Now, I might get into a little bit of trouble for saying this, but whether or not something causes me trouble has never ever stopped me doing it. So here goes. In fact, I've been wanting to say this for a while, and I think it needs saying. There is a something of a split emerging in the so-called LGBT plus community, and it is a split between LGB and T plus. Now, this split isn't actually new because I remember when I was at university, which is 20-ish years ago, I remember the LGB Society, and I remember when the LGB Society became the LGBT Society. And that debate was going on then. The LGB side wondered what the T had to do with them and why would we do it? What's it got to do with us? And the T side essentially wanted somewhere to belong and felt that LGB was the most appropriate place for them. And there are a few reasons for that. First of all, back then, gay pubs, gay clubs, you would often find there would be a small little group of transsexuals. In a pub of, say, 250, 300 people, there would be 3 or 4 transsexuals. And they went to gay pubs and gay clubs because, for the simple reason that they would be safe there. That plus the issue of there are of feminine gay men or masculine gay women, which is not the same as trans. It was felt appropriate, somewhat by some, it was felt appropriate that the T belonged with the LGB. But what they couldn't have predicted at that time, and that wasn't predicted at that time, was A, that T would become T, Q, A, B, C, D, whatever the hell it's become. Nor could they have predicted that every gay rights organisation would suddenly become all about the T. And that if LGB objected to this dominance of T, that they would in fact be excluded from LGBT. That's what's happening. And this split is largely driven by gay women. There are a couple of groups. One that jumps to mind is one called Get the L Out, which is campaigns to remove the L from LGBT plus, for a few reasons. One, because T is dominating L organisations. So lesbian groups, lesbian organisations are dominated by men, essentially. And a lot of gay women are getting tired of this. Now, they protested at Pride this year and they were excluded. They were thrown out. They were accused of hate and bigotry and, you know, the drill. Now, we're at a situation where lesbians are being excluded from Pride for objecting to the fact that lesbian organisations are being taken over by men who identify as women. And as I say, this isn't new. It's been going on for a long time. The hugely controversial aspects to this, one of them, and I'll link to these articles below, one of them is an article by the Independent recently, which showed that the younger generation is more anti-LGBT than, say, my generation. And most people expected that to be the other way round. But the fact is, it's going in the other direction. And younger people, consider LGBT plus to be, among other things, dangerous and immoral. This isn't the direction that this was supposed to go in. And the vast majority of people of my generation, for example, realised, and this is why LGB campaigning has been so successful, because people realised that actually responsible, independent adults had a right to have relationships with or sleep with other responsible, independent adults of their own choice. And it was really none of anyone else's business. And that's why LGB has been so successful. But LGBT is going in the other direction, and I think it's largely because of the T. There's been a case recently in Texas, of all places, of a 7-year-old boy whose insane mother wants to turn into a girl and whose sane father objects to this. Now, the sane father took the insane mother to court, and the court ruled with the mother. This child is 7 years old, and what's being floated is puberty blockers, is a medical interference with the natural progression of this boy's growth. This is being sanctioned by a court in Texas, of all places. Now, this is insane. This is wrong. This is immoral, and it is dangerous. And more LGBT people are realizing that they are now associated with something that is wrong and dangerous and immoral, and they want out. Another reason why particularly gay women are splitting away from this is that there are rather insidious encroachments by people who have seen the success of LGB and want a part of it. And it is being used, the success of LGB is being used to shoehorn in fetishes. And I don't care if people have a fetish, that's their own business, but it doesn't belong in public, and it certainly doesn't belong in children's classrooms. But LGB success is being used now to justify the advancement of public displays of fetishism, and worse and most dangerous of all, even paedophilia. A lot of LGB people can see that this plus is being used by paedophiles to try and sanitize and justify and make acceptable their abuse of children. This is a serious situation for freedom in society in general. LGBT people can see this now, and they can see that it's only going to get worse. And I do worry about this. Like a lot of other people, I don't want to go back into the closet either, and I don't want to be associated with insanity, with subversion of reality, with this imposition of changing the gender, destroying the body of a child for some virtue signalling whim of a crazy parent. I don't want to be associated with that. Very, very many, increasing numbers of LGBT people feel exactly the same way. So there's a warning in this. If you want LGBT rights, you're going to have to drop the T, and you're going to have to do it soon.